of the dream have come to pass.
One of the main messages of the organizers of the march 50 years ago was economic equality. That often gets lost in the retelling of this. And A. Philip Randolph essentially said that freedom to use public accommodations will mean precious little to those who can't afford to use them. I just read that economic disparities between African Americans and whites, particularly household income, have either stayed the same or even widened. What do you make of that economic disparity?
I think that the economic disparity comes from a disparity larger and deeper and older than the economic disparity. We are all suffering from the ashes of slavery. We all still think, there are people who still think that black people are not full citizens and do not deserve full salaries equal to the salaries given to white workers. And as long as we believe that, we're never going to have parity. We're never going to have fairness. We will never have an equal distribution of labor and respect and courtesy. We will never have it. But I do believe that we have to do something about what we believe about each other. And what we really believe about ourselves is imperative that we do so. If you as a white man and I as a black woman, if you really think that we are different, then there's something terribly wrong.
It was very interesting to me in the wake of the Trayvon Martin case and the case of George Zimmerman. There was a poll done about the discussions of race that were taking place in the wake of that case. And among many white Americans, the poll numbers said that a lot of white Americans felt too much was being made about race, whereas among African Americans, the majority felt this was a discussion that need to continue and need to be had, and not too much was being made about it. It's interesting to me how still to this day, often white America and black America sees things through different lenses.
Absolutely, because we have not come to the decision, which is so important, that you can only come to this decision if you have courage. The decision is, I am a human being. Nothing human can be alien to me. Until we come to that, whites will really think I'm better than, well, they're not so bad, but that color doesn't come off, and that hair doesn't straighten out. And so we're not equals. Until blacks and whites see each other as brother and sister, we will not have parity. It's very clear.
And you don't think that has occurred? You don't believe that there is true equality yet?
Oh, I know there isn't, and you know there isn't. And everybody who hears you knows there isn't. And yet this is what we have to have. The only thing is, Mr. Cooper, people have to develop courage. It is most important of all the virtues, because without courage, you can't practice any other virtue consistently. You can be anything erratically and in front of the microphone, in front of the camera. But to be that thing in your heart, you have to have courage. And so I'm afraid that we are lacking in courage. We think we are afraid. And fear, I'm sorry to say, motivates most of the cruelties in our world.
How does one live with courage? I mean, it's at times difficult.
Well, you develop courage in small ways. You start by doing a little bit, showing a little bit of courage in a little way. Never accept any racial pejorative about any other human being. I will not accept the N-word used in a group of African Americans or Africans. I will not. I know it's poison. And so I will not accept any word used to diminish a white man or woman, or blonde, or an Asian, or a Spanish speaking. I will not accept it. So when I persevere and I don't accept it, I develop courage in a little way. And the next time I do something, I have a little more courage and a little more. I don't try to be all that courageous all the time, because I know somebody can, knock your block off. But I do it in small ways.
President Obama, in his address today, talks about opening a new front in the civil rights movement, one that also pulls in the struggle for equal rights for gay and lesbian Americans, for women in this country, the rights of other minorities like immigrants. Do you see that movement for equality as part of the civil rights movement, as a continuation of...
It's all a... Yes, sir. Mr. Cooper, if you think that I can have freedom, but you can't because you're short, or you're tall, or you're gay, or fat, or thin, or pretty, or plain, but I can have it because not by anything I've earned. I just was born white, or I was born pretty. Then you're just stupid. The truth is, no one of us can be free until everybody is free. And every one of us needs to say to our children, children, this is your world. Come out, stand out, earn it. Make it a better place, more than what James Baldwin called these yet-to-be United States. This is your world and your time.
I was reading some James Baldwin last night, actually, Another Country, and also reading about Bayard Rustin recently. And you know, you do hear, particularly in some African-American churches, a resentment or a dislike when people equate the modern movement for equal rights for gays and lesbians to the civil rights movement. And there is some resentment about the belief that it is a continuum of that. Do you understand where that resentment comes from? What do you say to that?
Well, I think this is sad. I think it is an semblance of stupidity. I think that if you think that one person can be free but the other can't because he's gay, or this one is straight, or this one is fat or Spanish speaking, then you misunderstand the whole idea of I am a human being. Nothing human can be alien to me. When you misunderstand that, you've lost the whole meaning of being alive and being responsible to the time you take up